Okay. Let me go ahead now and just get into the financial news. You see, they're not just going to take everything you got. They want to take what you got so they can then have their way with you with the eugenics social safety net they've set up for you. Now, before I get into that, I just want to read this to you first. This is a quote. This is a public quote by Richard N. Haas, the current president of the Council on Foreign Relations, stated in his article. This is a public article. This is on the Council on Foreign Relations website and Club of Rome site. They're very proud of it. Okay? Very proud of this. State sovereignty must be altered in a globalized era, that a system of world government must be created and sovereignty eliminated in order to fight global warming, as well as terrorism. Moreover, states must be prepared to cede some sovereignty to world bodies if the international system is to function, said Haas. Globalization thus implies that sovereignty is not only becoming weaker in reality, but that it needs to become weaker. States would be wise to weaken sovereignty in order to protect themselves. So, hand it over to the bankers that are doing all this. That's what that means. Let me read you. This is from, by the way, this is 91. He said they would govern us with the social network of the global carbon tax to micromanage every facet of your life, and terrorism, that those would be used as the pincer attack. And that was in the First Global Revolution, published by the Club of Rome, republished by Council on Foreign Relations. And that is the report titled The First Global Revolution, 1991, published by the Club of Rome, a globalist think tank. We find the following statement, Richard N. Haas. In searching for a new enemy to unite us, we must come up with the idea that population, the threat of global warming, water shortages, famine, and the like would fit the bill. All these dangers are caused by the human intervention. The real enemy is humanity itself. And then the head of the CFR goes on. They're eugenicists, see, and they openly say they want 80% of us dead. And they say they hate the middle class, and they hate you living in that $1 million house, and they hate the fact that your kids look great and you got money in swimming pools. These are some real Scrooges, folks. If you study elites throughout history, though, this is pretty normal. They're really unhappy, soulless people. They're psychopathic sadists. All right. Now, you can go look this up. By the way, this is at the UT Library. We didn't just believe this on the CFR website when we were making Endgame. We went and actually got his reports. In fact, you ought to go to the UT Library if you live here in Austin or wherever you live, if it's a big enough library, and you ought to go get Club of Rome publications. And actually, they have them. They're magazines, and you ought to get it out in your hand. So it's not Alex on TV telling you. You ought to flip it open. And you ought to read that for yourself. And it gets a lot worse. Instead of sitting there saying we're not telling the truth. These guys are so arrogant, they laugh about how you'll never... They write books. David Rockefeller wrote one 4 years ago. His autobiography. And he said, oh, I'm for world government getting rid of the U.S. Yeah. Yeah, people charge me with that, and I say guilty. He laughs also in the book, though, that no one will ever even read this. They know you don't read. They're going to tax our carbon dioxide and our ozone emissions, inert gases. I don't care if you got sandals on. I don't care if you wear a clown outfit. I don't care how you dress, if you got a shaved head or a big beard. Just stop acting so trendy. We're in deep trouble. Their own documents say this is neo-serfdom and feudalism. This is one-child policies. This is horrible stuff. This is being done by design. And I'm begging you. I'm begging you. They're going to blow out banks, consolidate, have things implode, then have the larger banks, quote, bailed out by the Federal Reserve, then you pay the taxes to bail that out, and then again, you pay in dollar devaluation. Meanwhile, all the private shareholders, I saw Silverstein, Bush, all of them, a couple years ago getting out of Carlyle. I'd see blips. I saw them getting out of Enron before it went. I was talking about Enron before it went down. Because you could see them. They move out of it, then they leave you holding the bag. It's a big joke. They'll send a few CEOs to jail. They know what they're doing. Now, in the IMF documents, they talk about once they implode a nation at the first level of implosion, then they order the governments and the private companies to shut water, shut fuel off. That, and they say that's called the IMF riot. That then precipitates rioting. People riot. I am not, by the way. People, when it gets bad, people riot, then the total currency implodes, everything falls apart. The globalists come in with police state in the name of restoring order. Then they buy everything up for not even pennies, like they're buying Bear Stearns right now. And then you become a third world nation by design, and the elites are on the hill, and you're down here, and you don't have education, money, nothing to fight them. The corruption's in place. The vertical integration is now in. And this is all stated, all planned, all done. Now, this is how dumb they think you are. They talk about New World Order everywhere, every day, call for world government, but then if you say you're against it, they laugh and say you're insane, it doesn't exist. And then we even argue with them and say, but you said it exists. It's a way of changing the subject, or making it a debate about, does this exist, instead of, what do we do about this? And then you never get past the question. And they have whole handbooks, Delphi technique training, that they send every major government person and even locals to, how to lie to you, how to change the subject. I mean, it's incredible. It's just a criminal class feeding on you. All we were was the dollar. We weren't manufacturing. We weren't jobs. That was all tax incentives to leave by the same globalist. Now all we have was that fiat currency, and the banker said, got you right where we want you. Whew. You think they were federalizing police and getting riot police and microwave guns and building FEMA camps for Al-Qaeda, you fools? It was for you. It was for me. Don't you understand that? They get you going along with the police state because it's for the guys that blew up the towers. Wink, wink. Oh, it's to keep you safe from the boogeyman. But it's all engineered for you. It's all made for you. They spy on you. They control you. It's called treason. It's all foreign owned. It's all foreign run. They got their people in every position of power. And only exposure can stop them. Only exposure can stop them. Only getting past your left-right paradigm and growing up can stop them.